What's good, everybody? RJ Sheldon here back with another episode of Off the Top Show. This edition is BD Boys, as you see on the screen here. Got my good brother James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. How we doing, man?
Been a long time, man. I apologize to all of our fans out there. Life's been busy, but you know what? We're back. We're gonna catch y'all up on get some thoughts, some quick thoughts, but we're gonna get back on track here. We had a little offset, a little tangent. You know how we are. We go off on tangents a little bit. We went off on a little tangent just on the recording part. So now we're gonna get back into it. There's a lot to talk about. We got a great week coming up right here, so let's get into it.
No, absolutely. It's called life, brother. But let's go ahead and talk about our Packers here. This past weekend, Sunday, they went ahead and lost to the Browns 10-13. That was a very bad game. But then prior, we haven't really kind of talked about that Commanders game. They won that one 27-18. But go ahead, Jimmer, and talk to me just about this past game against the Browns. And then obviously you can carry on with the Commanders if you'd like. But go ahead and talk to me about this game here.
We'll start with the Commanders. We'll start with the good. We'll start with the thing that we probably need to talk about the least, which was the Commanders game. I mean, they pretty much, the only bad thing about that game is that they should have won by more. But they dominated in every facet of that game. You know, they made some play. They made offense look really, really good again for the second week in a row. Defense looked ridiculous again for the second week in a row. So then so we don't really need to even talk about that because the run game didn't look good again for the second week in a row. But then but again, you win, you move on, you go 1-0 for the week, and then you move on with the mini bye. And then we go into the Browns, which the Browns don't look good. They really just don't. So I was expecting another dominating performance, kind of like with the Commanders. Defensively, it was a dominating performance. Offensively, it was one of the worst displays I've seen maybe ever in Matt LaFleur's tenure. Maybe ever. If not, it was a top 5 worst display I've ever seen. And the problems we are starting to see with this offense is the offensive line. And I thought coming into the season, besides Josh Jacobs, the offensive line maybe was probably going to be one of the stronger portions of this offense because Josh Jacobs ran for over 1,000 yards, maybe he ran for 1,200 yards last year. So you added a piece, and you had one of the worst centers in the league last year in Josh Myers. You kick a guy who's played center, who's been one of the better offensive linemen in the NFL, versatilely, and Elton Jenkins in the center. You sign Aaron Banks, who's the best guard on the market, and then you have Sean Ryan, who is pretty good, and then you have Zach Tom, who is absolutely fantastic, and then you have Rasheed Walker or Jordan Morgan on the left side, which Rasheed Walker's was probably going to play himself out of a contract with Green Bay because he's going to go get big money elsewhere because he's just been a solid left tackle. With the money that's on Green Bay's payroll right now, I don't think they'd be able to afford him, but that's good for him. You know, go get your money. If the guy plays and earns his money, it is what it is. It's business is how it goes. So then we start off the Browns game 2 plays in losing Zach Tom, which Zach Tom was going to be the anchor of that game because Myles Garrett's there. Well, he goes down. Then you bring in Jordan Morgan. Well, then Aaron Banks goes down, your left guard. Now you're starting to get work. Now I'm worried because now you're down 40% of your line. And then Rasheed Walker goes down. So now you're playing with 40% of your starting line and you're missing 60%. And the Browns defensive line literally made Green Bay just look horrible. Like I haven't seen such bad offensive line play in a very, very, very long time. I think the last time I've seen that bad was Aaron Rodgers got sacked 53 times in a season. They were getting pressure on Jordan Love that game over 50% of the time. You're not going to win football games that way. But up until the last 3 minutes of the game, we were like, grind it out, 10-0, 10-3 win, whatever. Let's just get the hell out of here. I didn't agree with the play at the end where Jordan Love threw the pick. It was 3rd and 3. If you don't get it, Browns are going to use their final timeouts. You flip the field. It's raining, by the way, if people weren't watching. It was pouring rain. The Browns haven't really done anything on offense. I did not like the call of trying. I mean, I get it. You get a first down there, you run more time off the clock, then you maybe flip the field on a punt there. But the worst case scenario is you make the Browns offense, which hadn't done anything to you until the drive prior, but they didn't really do anything to you, and you have to throw the ball. Your pass rush was doing really well that game. Make them go 70 yards. Make them go 60 yards. They have to score a touchdown. Make them do that. And Matt LaFleur decided to be aggressive, which I guess I disagree with it. You can call it hindsight, but I was like, it's 3 yards. You have Josh Jacobs. Just try it. I wanted to see a run there because then the Browns used their last timeout and they only have the 2-minute warning to stop the clock, and you use the strength of your defense that with the secondary too, because the secondary played really well and the pass rush was playing really well. You use that strength with the rain working with you as well. I just didn't think it was the right call situationally, especially since the Brown, but they threw the ball and Jordan Love made a really bad decision. And he threw a pick. So I blame and then of course they scored the touchdown because I felt bad for the Packers defense. They were on the field for like 5, 6, 7 minutes. Then they were off the field for like 2 minutes and they had to go back on the field right away. They were probably tired, probably gassed. And then of course you get hope. All right, Brandon McManus, 43-yard field goal. McManus has been there, done that. You expect him to make that field goal and then it gets blocked. And I guess it was just the day for blocked field goals because that was one of, I think, 4 blocked field goals of the day. It was just a bad omen to be a field goal kicker that day. And then the Browns went and kicked field goal. And so that was the offensive line lost that game. Yes, Jordan Love threw the pick, but Jesus, if you look at, I think Andy Herman or Matt Schneidman, really good guys for followers if you're Packers fans. If you look at their grades, because they watch the all-22s, they try to rate the worst 5 players on offense were all offense, the entire offensive line. That's bad. It's bad enough when 1 or 2 guys have bad games on the offensive line. All 5 had bad games. Like the Browns were running stunts every which way, and the offensive line just looked lost. So, you got to clean that up. I mean, thankfully you got the Cowboys coming up this week. Thankfully, Micah Parsons isn't on that side and he's on yours because it'd be the same shit, just a different day for that defensive line because Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. Thank God they don't have him anymore. But I mean, good Lord, it was a bad day for the offensive line. And that's the other reason why I thought that they should run the ball. I know your offensive line hasn't been good, but I think offensive linemen prefer to run block than pass block. I think you can get all jazzed up and try to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust instead of, hey, get into a set. Jordan Love's going to throw a route. No, just guys, we're shorthanded right now. Fucking nut up and let's get this first down. Like everybody in the NFL, I would like to think can run block as an offensive lineman. It's the pass blocking that makes your money. But I just thought it was the wrong call because I was calling run. You were sitting right next to me when we were watching. I was calling run, just run the ball. Let the Browns use their last timeout, flip the field because Daniel Whelan had a really good game punting the ball. Yes, here we go. We're talking punting here on Off the Top Show. No, this isn't Pat McAfee's show. He flipped the field so many times that game. So just let him flip the field again. Even if he punts it into the end zone from where he is, make them go 80 to 75 to 65 yards. I just didn't get it. And then it came back and bit him in the ass. So once again, and the other questionable thing was that Matthew Golden route. I mean, that was a dime right on Matthew Golden, and Matthew Golden just kind of went out of bounds. I was like, put your foot in the ground and use the 4.2 speed, brother. Like, I thought it was a touchdown, and then he just kept, and I've looked at every angle of that. He had 5 yards between him and the sideline. He could have easily tried to put his foot in the ground and just go. So I don't know if that's just a rookie mistake, but I mean, it was positive to see him beat somebody deep, but get a nose for the end zone, brother. Like you're the speed demon. Yeah. You gotta try. And even if you don't, you probably gain another 20 yards trying to do it. And Green Bay maybe gets even closer to a field goal. Who knows? Hindsight's 2020. That was one of the worst Packer games I've seen in a long time. And they literally gift wrapped that game in the last 4 minutes, and gave it to the Browns. So I think that some losses are really bad, and this is a really bad loss. You would like to hope that in that locker room after beating the Lions, who has been picked the number 1 team in the NFC North, and you beat up the Commanders, who went to the NFC Championship game against said Lions. Oh no, that was the NFC division round. I forgot. But still, everyone's picking the Commanders to go to the playoffs again, and Jaden Daniels to have a really good year. I think maybe you felt yourselves a little too much, and you just got your asses kicked by the 0-2 Browns, who are probably going to be maybe one of the worst teams in the league, although with the other Ohio team, Cincinnati, with Joe Burrow being out, they're definitely going to be the worst team in the league. You just got beat, and you only scored 10 points. Yes, I understand Myles Garrett's on the other side. Myles Garrett is a fucking beast. We were clamoring for him to come over to Green Bay. I didn't think that trade was possible, but apparently we got Micah Parsons, which I'm totally okay with. But he's a game wrecker, and he definitely wrecked the game. Him and the defensive line wrecked Green Bay's game plan. So you hope that isn't a weakness that teams start exploiting, but you got to get better. But you got coming up here the Cowboys, and the Cowboys just got dog walked by the Chicago Bears team, which in the first 2 games they looked like shit offensively, and they just made you look like a fucking JV team. So hopefully Sunday Night Football, Micah Parsons return. Hopefully the energy flows a little better. Green Bay always plays well in Dallas. I don't think they've lost in Dallas in a long time because Packer fans travel well to Dallas. And hopefully just get back on track with a win there for the Cowboys against the Cowboys, not for them.
Well, yeah, we hear you.
People get it. Yeah, you know, all right.
They understand. They know where they're going. They know what's going on. It's it was tough. Like you said, we got to move on. We got to go and do what we need to do to go ahead and get this win against the Cowboys. That one is at 7:20 p.m. Sunday night prime time.
Our girl Carrie's going to be singing to us. We've been waiting all day for it, and she's going to sing to us. God damn. Anyway, sorry, back on track.
God bless her. Let's go ahead and move on over to the Wisconsin Badgers here. They went ahead and lost their home opener in the Big Ten to Maryland, 27-10. And then we haven't talked about the Alabama game, but there's really nothing to really get into that. Oh, we did talk about the Alabama game. Well, we don't have to talk about that again. But we do need to talk about this Maryland versus Wisconsin game. 27-10, the Badgers has lost. This is flat out embarrassing, not just only for just the university, not the athletic program, not just the players, not just the people that have watched a Badger team that has at least shown some type of grit out there in the first Big Ten game. Where do you go from here? And I guess I asked you that question. It's just not looking good.
I mean, the team looks demoralized. There's no wind in the sails. Nobody, and this is the problem. This is where the problem lies, in my opinion. When you think Wisconsin football, you think of tough defense, which I honestly think the Wisconsin Badgers defense is still pretty decent. They're tough. They compete. Your boy Mike Trussell, he does a really good job with that defense. But complementary football is not on their side. So the defense kind of gets left out to dry right now. Now, that Alabama game, Alabama just showed they're just as probably expected, they're in a different class. And they are. They have the athletes to do it. Wisconsin put up a pretty good fight defensively, but once again, struggled on offense. So then you go into a Maryland game. Okay, Maryland's not Alabama. And they just came out and dog walked you. And what's the problem? Luke Fickell came in 2 years ago with a plan, and he brought in an offensive coordinator that wanted air raid. And so they built an offensive line to air raid. They didn't build an offensive line like we've seen in years past that were 320, 330. Just ground and pound. It's going to be a long fucking day for you as a defense. And by the way, you have a 240 running back who runs a 4.5. That's just going to bust you in the mouth over and over and over again. They're not built like that right now, and that's what this new offensive coordinator wants to do, which I agree with because that's how Wisconsin usually won football games. But right now, their offensive line is not built for ground and pound. They're built for air raid, and unfortunately, you have to reset yourself again for another year because recruiting's done. You need offensive linemen for this offense, and they don't have it. They need a quarterback. They don't have it. Their wide receivers actually are not terrible. I think Vinny Anthony and the guy with the really long last name that I cannot pronounce, it's kind of like Giannis Antetokounmpo if we get Trek Kekahuna. That was easy.
Kekahuna?
Yeah.
Kekahuna?
Yeah, he's good. I like him a lot. I think they actually have really good wide receivers, but they don't have the stud running back. They don't have Monte Ball. They don't have James White. They don't have P.J. Hill. They don't have Ron Dane. They don't have that. They have just generic dudes. And this is a ground and pound offense with a generic dude. And guess what you have to do? It's college football. You said this to me on Saturday when we were kind of watching it. Or on Sunday, I'm sorry, when we were kind of talking about it. College football's watered down. What do you have to do to get guys in the room now? It's not just, oh, by the way, 4 teams are going to recruit every single top 100 recruit in the country. It's if you shell out the cash, you have a chance. And we come to find out Wisconsin ain't shelling out the cash. They're being stingy. They're not getting in the portal. Now, I understand, but it's the state of college football right now. You want to get good, get in the portal, and start spending some goddamn money. And I know Wisconsin has it. We all know Wisconsin. Every college football program has it. You have the
Yes, they
money
do.
to at least build a program that competes and doesn't lose their Big Ten opener to Maryland. You have that money, and they're not spending it, and they didn't spend it when Paul Chryst was there either. And look what happened to him. You can say it's a Luke Fickell problem. Guess what? Luke Fickell's gonna, if he gets the axe, let's say he gets fired, he's gonna get hired tomorrow. Luke Fickell's a damn good football coach, and people are saying, well, look, no, it's deeper than that. College football, they're not spending. If you don't spend the money as a football program on players, and I don't mean like just here's $250,000 because that's low for a college football player. No, you got to go spend millions. Unfortunately, that's the state of the college football game now. So, like it or lump it, it's the state of the game. It's just like the NFL. If you and professional sports, if you don't spend money, you're probably not going to be good unless you find diamonds in the rough, which it's hard to find diamonds in the rough now because everybody's getting paid. Diamonds in the rough are going to go somewhere, some slack Division I team, and they know they're not going to go pro, but they're going to get cash. It's just how you're not going to get the TJ Watts and the JJ Watts who walk on anymore. It's just not going to happen. So again, I think Luke Fickell, I've been behind Luke Fickell the whole time. I still think he's a great coach. I think they're kind of getting back. I thought they were getting back on track to what they wanted to do, but now you see the weakness. It's in their offensive line because they're not built for ground and pound yet. But I hope they stay patient with Luke Fickell. People are getting impatient with him, but at the same time, who are you going to go out and get? Who's out there who's going to do a better job? You think who's going to come and do a better job? I don't think there's anybody out there. You have a guy who's taken Cincinnati to a Final Four, to the Final Four in the college football playoff, like with no top five play or top 5-star players, maybe a couple 4-stars. This is what Wisconsin was. They had once upon a time they had 9 4-star recruits and 0 5-stars, and they were top 25 in the country. Something's got to give here. I blame the university for being stingy with their money because that's just how college football is, and it's not going to get any better. Like, you thought Maryland was bad. Guess what? You go to the Big House next week. I'm sorry, not this week. Week after. Good luck, because I mean, Michigan again isn't. I don't think anything spectacular, but you're going to be playing in front of 100,000 people, and you just got beat by Maryland, and you didn't look good at all at home. What do you think is going to change when you go to the Big House? Probably not much. So right now they're only favored by, I think I saw 9.5 or 8.5. Michigan is. I might be hammering. That might be Jim Bob Cooter's lock of the week. I mean, 8.5 points at Michigan. Put the house on it. You know, this is not a good football. I mean, defensively, again, I think they're solid. I think they can compete with most teams. Again, Alabama showed their class. They were just way too fast. Like, it showed. They got studs, and we knew they had studs. But Maryland doesn't have those studs, and yet Wisconsin, I mean, same with the defensive side, but Wisconsin just looked brutal. Again, they're going to have to rebuild again, and it starts with the offensive line with this ground and pound. And that means you got to get a premier back. I don't care how. Go out and spend the damn money on a premier back, and then get some big uglies. Go find some farms with 300-pound dudes on it, because here in Wisconsin we got plenty of them. And start getting black and blue and start fucking grounding and pounding like the good old days. So I think that's the only way they're going to be successful through this, because they can't get the stars like Alabama. I mean, when they tried the air raid offense, that didn't work. So you got to go back to your roots. And what's Wisconsin's roots? Big uglies, black and blue, control the football through the running game.
I mean, you hope and pray, because that's what they need right now. It's just not looking good for those guys that are wearing that red and white right now.
Yeah, it's not. It looks bad. It looks really bad. And again, we're 4 games in, and this team just looks like they have zero confidence in what they're doing, and they also just have zero energy. Like just like, oh well, we're playing football, we might get our asses kicked again. That's kind of what body language looks like. So again, Luke Fickell if this locker room isn't behind a head coach, I mean, you've been in locker rooms, but you've been in a locker room that's been very successful. but you could probably see in a locker room that doesn't believe in the head coach, it's not going to be good. It's not good. Like you're not going to win anything. So they just look like a confused, demoralized team right now.
Couldn't put it any better. Let's move on over to something positive, though. We got our Milwaukee Brewers. They went ahead and clinched, obviously, their division. We're hunting for that 1 seed, or got the 1 seed, excuse me. 95 and 62. I mean, what a season. We want this to go ahead and continue. They go ahead and face the San Diego Padres in a 3-game series. Talk to me about it, man. Exciting times. We're getting to where we get to that October ball.
Yep. The Phillies have been. So, again, we're going to talk Brewers. Right now, they clinched the division, but right now, the most important thing for me would be to get the 1 or the 2 seed. Obviously, you want that 1 seed because you really don't want to go into Lincoln Financial Field, or I think it's Lincoln Financial Field, which is the Phillies ballpark for a 7-game series, if you make it that far. Like Philadelphia, we've seen it in a couple years past. That place gets crazy, and it is a very tough place to go play on the road. So you hope you get the 1 seed because then everything runs through Milwaukee. But if you don't, obviously you get the 2 seed because then you just avoid the 3-game series that knocked you out last year. I've said it before, this team is built for longevity. Getting to a 5-game series where you have to be beat 3 times in a row, or 3 out of 5 times, I think that plays into the Brewers' hands of how good they, because they're a good team. Unfortunately, their schedule down the stretch is going to be a tough one. Obviously, San Diego was playing for playoff berths, but they clinched last night with a win over the Brewers in 11 innings. So they're still going to be fighting for positioning, where the Brewers are fighting for positioning as well. And then you come home on Friday to Cincinnati, who's fighting for a playoff berth, period. Like, just trying to backdoor it. So you got 2 teams that are fighting tooth and nail, where the Brewers are kind of in this mode of, we're clinched already, but hopefully, we're just trying to stay healthy, but also we don't want to slip into a 3 seed where we have to play a 3-game series, but we really want that 1 seed. So it'll be interesting. San Diego is obviously really good. That's going to be a team you might run into the playoffs, but also you want to be healthy. And the Brewers are kind of getting hit a little bit with the injury bug. So at a wrong time where they're starting to shut some guys down until the postseason, just trying to get guys right. It'll be really interesting when the playoff rosters come out, because there's some question marks, and all eyes are going to be on the pitching staff. I think position-wise, the only question marks are going to be like Jake Bauers. Jake Bauers has been playing really good baseball, but he's a first baseman, and you got 3 of them. You got Andrew Vaughn, and you got Rhys Hoskins, and Rhys Hoskins just came back, and he's not really getting much time. Like, I think he's only had 12, 15 at-bats, and he's been back for a little bit because Jake Bauers has just been playing really good baseball. So I thought Hoskins would get a couple more at bats just to try to get him amped up for postseason play. Jory Ortiz is starting to swing the bat a little bit better. He kind of went into a slump. Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick, Christian Yelich, Jackson Cheerio, those guys are playing phenomenal ball right now. William Contreras has kind of cooled off a little bit, so you just hope he kind of kicks up too. But you have some guys, your leaders, playing really well right now. You hope to get Trevor McGill back, because if you don't have Trevor McGill, that's going to be scary. It's going to be a little worrisome, because Trevor McGill has been really good closing games for this ball club. It'd probably be Abner Uribe. They've been doing that now, where they've actually been kind of giving him the heart. If in the 8th inning, you got the heart of the order coming up, they give it to Uribe. And then if it's the easier part of the order, they put somebody else in. And then once the lineup turns over, they just make sure Uribe's out there for the hardest part. So, Jared Koenig has been pitching a little bit more in a closer's role, but again, that's just matchup wise. Getting DL Hall back is going to be absolutely huge, because again, we've seen in the past the Brewers like to shrink down games. They like to go 2 times through the rotation with their starters, and then they give it to the bullpen, because they don't want analytics. Here we go. Analytics say the 3rd time of the order is the hardest time, so they're not giving opposing teams the hardest time, or the easiest time to get through the order statistically. But I'm hoping Pat Murphy in his 2nd year in the playoffs maybe gets a little bit more of a feel to where if a starter is going well and pitching well, just throw out the analytics, give him a short leash, do something, just feel the rhythm, as the Jamaicans said, in Cool Runnings, feel the rhythm, feel the ride. Get on up. It's bobsled time. Just I want better feel of the game. If a guy's pitching well, just leave it until maybe he gets into a little trouble. Have a contingency plan, something. But right now, you just need some guys back healthy. I predict game 1 starter for them if they make it to the NLDS or whatever playoff game. Your game 1 starter is probably going to be Freddie Peralta. I mean, that's Mr. Consistent this year. And then your game 2 starter is probably going to be Quinn Priester, who's been, again, Mr. Consistent this year. And then you have a question mark. Do you go Brandon Woodruff? Do you go Jacob Mizorowski? Do you go a bullpen game? What route do you go? Because Jake Mizorowski has kind of cooled off. Brandon Woodruff's 7-2, but you worry about his longevity because of his injury that he's coming back from, or do you? I really don't want to see Jose Quintana start a playoff game. You might have to, but I like what Jose Quintana has done for the Crew this year. Don't get me wrong. He's been a great, he hasn't been hurt. I don't think he's been hurt. If he has, it was like a 10-day stint, but he hasn't been hurt. He's been Mr. Reliable. He's always pitched, but in the playoffs, I just wouldn't trust him. I don't know. I just get the feeling he isn't pitching as well as he was in the beginning of the year. I mean, he's lost his past 3. He's lost his last 3 starts. He was 11-5 when it was in September 3rd. And he's 11-7 now. So he was 10-5 starting in the end of August, and he's now 11-7. So he's getting his tits licked a little bit. Sorry for the graphic saying, but that's something I've always said when a pitcher kind of gets lit up. But I just don't trust him. But it might get to the point when you get to 7 games, you might have to throw him, which it is what it is. Hopefully you get him on a good day, because we've seen Jose Quintana when he's good. He's a tough guy to hit. I mean, he just mixes his pitches. He can spot, and he's a crafty veteran. So, but you just hope guys like Yelich, Chirio, Frelick, and Bryce Terang can stay hot, like stay really hot, like they are right now. And then you hope Contreras, I guess whoever's the platoon is at third base or first base, because I don't know who's going to play first base. Usually it would be Rhys Hoskins or how Andrew Vaughn was playing earlier, but he's cooled off. But now Jake Bauers is red hot. So you kind of hope those 2 guys, and then you just hope Joey Ortiz kind of is like a little above average, because he's not Willie Adames who's just going to hit tanks. But you hope he plays just a solid shortstop, which he always proves he can, but also come up with some clutch hits like he has in this season as well. So you just hope that they get hot at the right time, which they look to be okay right now, but it's really tough when you win a division in like the middle of September, or you clinch a playoff spot in the middle of September, and then you're fighting for 1 seed. So they have 2 games away if they get it from tying the franchise record for most wins in the season, 3 games away from breaking it. I would like to see them run this out and maybe get to 100 wins. That'd be cool. But I kind of don't see it happening, because they're just in a position to just kind of make sure guys are right instead of trying to win ball games. So we'll see. But I have good expectations if they get the 2 seed, at least. If they get the 1 seed, we might be talking NLCS World Series type shit here. And they have one of the best records in baseball too, which would mean the World Series is going to come through Milwaukee. So, but we'll see. They got to get through these next couple games, and hopefully they get that 2 seed.
Man, just got to finish, man. Hopefully we can go ahead and get that 1 seed, 2 seed, but we're in the postseason.
Yeah.
We got opportunity to go ahead and
stay in that 1 seed, 2 seed, so you can avoid the 3-game series. Let's just get past the first round automatically, and then we'll deal with the 5-game series. Because again, I always thought the Brewers in the past are just built for longer series. But when they get in that short series, any team in the majority of the major league team can win a game or 2. So, but when you talk about good teams, and then it's really like a crapshoot. So again, get that 1 seed or 2 seed, stay there. Let's just get past that 3-game stretch, and let's just go straight to the 5, because I think that's where your strength is.
Absolutely. Last but not least here, we do like to talk about PGA. We do love our golf. That's one thing that we are definitely going to go ahead and talk about. Obviously, besides our great Wisconsin sports, Ryder Cup is here. Practice rounds were this morning.
Okay.
They're going to be obviously on Wednesday, Thursday, And then Friday, it is on and popping from Friday all the way to Sunday. Jimmer, this is you. You love talking about the Ryder Cup. I love hearing about it. What do you got for us?
So a couple things. So I kind of been following Dan Rappaport. Dan Rappaport's a great golf guy to follow on Twitter. He loves the game. He's been on Full Swing. He's friends with the players. So he kind of gives you like a younger perspective, because he's our age. So he kind of gives you that perspective, and he's just really loves golf, and I think he does great work. He said today, I saw a tweet from him. I still call them tweets. I don't know what people call it now. But he said that the rough is a little bit abnormally longer, but this course is playing for birdies. Which, when you think about a Ryder Cup, like we talk about Whistling, I use Whistling Straits as an example. You always have holes that are, you have your tough holes, but then you always have a couple holes that are like a short par four where maybe players can drive the green, where players get a little aggressive and try to make some really good shots, and so the keys to what he says is be at the green. So hitting greens in regulation, doesn't matter how far your putts are, hitting green in regulations will suit you well. Jesus. But then he kind of gave some other, if you're actually going to said Ryder Cup, which you and I not going to the Ryder Cup, of course, unfortunately. So we saw like Bryson DeChambeau today trying to drive the green on hole 1. He had the most electric shot, in my opinion, at the Ryder Cup in Whistling Straits, and I think Ryder Cup history on the first hole. But it's one of the hardest things to do in sports, to go into, because it hasn't happened since 2012 that an opposing Ryder Cup team went into another country or went on the road and won. And that was Medina, where in Illinois, where the Europeans overcame like a 6-point deficit, and they called it Miracle at Medina because they shouldn't. The Americans basically had it and they pissed it away. But the Americans are favored. If you go to a betting site, which I have, the Americans are favored. Why? It's hard to go into a Ryder Cup on the road. The Americans haven't done it in a while and win the Ryder Cup. So it's going to be tough for the American team, I still think, because you look at that European team, they've all been there. They've all done it. They've all won the Ryder Cup. They're just solid. They're just solid from top to bottom, and the Americans kind of have some newer comers and some guys that have kind of been there, and some guys who are just like JJ Spawn, who just had a really good year, and what is he? We saw it with Brian Harman, where Brian Harman had a really good year, went to the Ryder Cup, not very good. So it's a different type of golf where you're not playing for you, you're playing for your country, and also it's just way more pressure. I mean, I understand playing for yourself is one thing, but if you lose, you still, if you're in the lead and you choke your lead away, okay, you get 500 grand still. That's not the case here. If you lose and choke this away, you possibly just lost the Ryder Cup. So it's a totally different type of pressure. You got Keegan Bradley, who I thought, as the captain, who I thought was robbed of being on the last Ryder Cup. I won't get into it, but I think he should have been there. He wasn't chosen to be there, and everybody else thought he should have been there as well. He's now the captain. So he's got a little bit of a fire in his belly too, because he thinks he should have been in Rome 2 years ago, and he wasn't picked to do it. So now he's the captain, and he really wants this as the captain. So it'll be interesting for the pairings. I think Scotty Scheffler is going to be playing with anybody. I think you put him maybe with JJ Spawn, because I think being a Ryder Cup rookie placed with the number 1 player in the world, your job's pretty fucking easy, in my opinion. I mean, there's pressure to it, but JJ Spawn's a really good putt. Like, he can putt the ball really well, and Scotty Scheffler is really good at putting the ball on green regulations, fairways. So if you are putting the ball really well, Scotty has a really easy job to just put the ball on the green. He's the best ball striker in the world for a reason. And then same with JJ Spawn. I think JJ Spawn's short game is really good. So when you get in the alternate shot portion of it, I think you might see Scotty and JJ Spawn. Same with somebody who's really good at short game, pair them with Bryson DeChambeau. Why? Because he's going to hit a fucking country mile, and you're going to have really short shots into the green. It's a really interesting dynamic for a team. Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas is on the Ryder Cup for the first time without his buddy Jordan Spieth. And those two were a mainstay pairing, but now he doesn't have. So who does Justin Thomas play with? Maybe a Colin Morikawa. it's like a science. You gotta put guys' strengths with other guys' strengths, which are their weaknesses. And you don't have the power. I mean, you could have the power pairing of Bryson and Scotty Scheffler and just start. But we saw Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler in Rome 2 years ago, and they got dog walked. So it really just depends on the day and just who's playing what. So Scotty Scheffler's playing. I mean, Scotty Scheffler's the best player in the world. You got to ride the number one player in the world. He's got to win. He's got to go 4-1 or 5-0. Bryson DeChambeau, you got to go 4-1. You know, the guys who are the mains. Justin Thomas, you're the most. You didn't get. You were. I don't think he was in the top 6, but he was the captain's pick. But he was pretty much there the whole season. You're one of the vets for the Ryder Cup. You got to go 4-1 or 3-2 or 5-0. But then you got to just get guys like JJ Spawn. Can you go 3-2? I know you're new. You're going to have nerves, but can you get us 3 points? Can anyone, when you go out there, can you get your point for today or a half a point even? So I'm jazzed. I love the Ryder Cup. If you're a casual golf fan and you haven't watched the Ryder Cup, it is a totally different energy. It's basically a home and away sporting event where if they miss putts, if the Europeans miss putts, you get cheers. If they make putts, they get booed. The Americans, it's incredible to what it has become in the past couple Ryder Cups. Golf etiquette is kind of out the window. So it's crazy. It's different. It's match play. It's a little bit more faster paced. It's a little bit more aggressive. So guys are going to go for shots more. They're not laying up. They're not being conservative. They're going for it. So it's a great watch for a casual golfer. It starts on Friday at 7 a.m. And I think that's great too, because usually when guys start at 7 a.m., we don't see them on TV. Because why? It's 7 a.m. Nobody's really playing that's interested. The sun is barely above the ground at 7 a.m. And these guys mist is coming off. It's perfect. It's like you and I going out on Sunday mornings like we have past couple weeks. And it's a beautiful morning out. It's crisp. It's like golf in its purest form. So again, I'm super excited for it. I love it. I took off of work on Friday for it. And then Saturday, I'm going to be glued to the couch. And Sunday, I'm going to be glued to the couch. It's not going to be a good day to be active. So if anyone asks me to do something, I'm probably going to say no until about 6 p.m. So thanks, but no thanks. Homie got to watch some stuff. Unless we go somewhere with TVs, I'm out. So no apple picking for Jimmy today, or for Jim Bob Cooter in the weekend. No go, fam. We're going to be golf. We're going to be watching golf.
Yeah, no, it's going to be definitely something to watch. Make sure you guys go ahead and tune into that. That starts Friday, obviously, for our Wisconsin sports fans and people that obviously listen. Get back on track on Sunday. Badgers, God bless you.
They're not
next
playing,
week.
so we don't have to worry about it. Not this
have
week.
a plan,
Watch
please.
the Ryder
Please
Cup.
have a plan.
It'll be way better. Yes.
Have a plan.
I have a plan. So we'll figure it out. But I'm jazzed up for the Ryder Cup, baby.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a good one, man. Drink some water. Read a book. Be a good person. We'll see you next time.